So a lot of the content, or pretty much all of the content on this channel, is to do with you transforming into the man you need to become, and us speaking about the results we get here at the Gorilla Platoon. One thing I don't really speak about too much about, which I thought I will change up and mix up this week, is I'm going to tell you about my story, how I got to where I am today. I'm going to rewind back to 2013 as the first point, so you can see like where I've come, what I've done, understand my ethos and values, see if we're like, we get on between me and you. And obviously then later on, if you want to come and join the Gorilla Platoon because of how you see the values and where it's going, then that's cool. But at least you've got the insight into who I am and what I'm about. So 2013 was the day I achieved the status of being a British paratrooper. At this point, I was 17, just about to turn 18. I actually joined the army straight from school, so I left school in 2011. Yeah, you finishing around the May, June time when you do your exams. I did like a military prep school, which was quite kind of cool, from like the September all the way till the January. January, I went to when you start at 16, you can go into Army Foundation College Harrogate, did that for a year, then adult entry to British Paratrooper. That was then another 6 months, which led me all the way to when I passed out here and got to the paras in just as I turned 18. My birthday's in August on the 3rd, so just as I turned 18, I got into the paras, and that was the first like real big achievement I'd done in my life. This taught me a lot about a lot of like pride and ego stuff and arrogance. It actually taught me some really good lessons about this, because in our army, the British Parachute Regiment is renowned for being the elite. We're the fittest of the fittest. We're the best of the best that the army has to offer, outside of any like special force sort of operations. But you can't join that straight away from being a civilian. So it's the hardest course to do from being a straight up civilian, which a civilian is someone that's non-military. They taught me, and they do really brainwash. And I was a young, impressionable 17-year-old. And they do really brainwash you. We are the best of the best. No one else comes close to us. We're the fittest of the fittest, the hardest of the hardest. Everything we do is to a better standard of everyone else. And like this cat badge, and I have it tattooed on my body, resembles that. That's what I liked about this. Then for everything in life, I tried to do things best effort, as best as I could, to this level of standard. And that's what joining the Paras really taught me. The next real milestone was in 2017. So 4 years later, I actually went back to the same training depot that I'd just been through, but as a physical training instructor. As you see, we wear the red belts and these t-shirts here. And my job was to get, this, oh, he's clicked off the whole wrong, there's a transformation for you. But my job was to get like I was here going through training, these guys were now. My job was to get civilians to be fit enough to pass our hardest test, which is known as P Company, or Pegasus Company, and that's the test you've got to pass to get into the parachute regiment before you're then allowed to go and parachute out of a plane and be inside, the unit's airborne infantry. So my job was to train civilians to do that, and I learned a lot about like influence and how to really get people to work hard for you, because it's hard training. A lot of it, like you're running for 10 miles with a rock on your back, you're carrying logs, you're carrying stretchers. There's another event called milling where you and another man, headgear on, boxing gloves on, not allowed to block. You just throw straight shots for a minute to simulate suppressing the enemy. And then there's another one called a trinasium. You got to jump from height and whatnot. And this was a really good good test of like my character to get people fit and ready for this. We'd cover like 50 miles a week, carrying the Bergen on the back and whatnot, and just getting guys in great shape. So this was probably one of the most prestigious jobs I'd ever done at this point. And I was like 21 at the time. I would have been. In 2017. So I did this for a while. I then also got the opportunity the year after to go to Sierra Leone in West Africa to train their army and create PTIs. So like here I'm a PTI. My job there was to go there and create their PTIs. So I went there. There was like nothing there. It was just literally from scratch. I had to create a training wing. So like write a PT, like a program, a course to train them the way I'd been trained. Create the infrastructure, get the kit and equipment in, go and speak to their 2-star generals and get them to get the kit and equipment in, and then qualify them so they could go and be PTIs, and then they go off and around their respective battle schools around their country, and I'd go around in a vehicle from point to point to point, and I would monitor and make sure they were getting on all right. And one day we were driving back, and they drive like crazy out there, and we're driving, the car in front of me slams on. I'm going to hit him, so I'm like, fuck, we're going to hit the back of him. So I pull my front end out, and then that's the worst thing I probably could have done, because it spins my vehicle. Now I'm facing oncoming traffic, but I'm sliding off the road, and the roads are all on banks there. We roll off down the bank, hit the side, hit the roof, hit the other side, land back on the wheels after doing a full barrel roll. And I'm like, what the fuck? Everything's smashed out in terms of the windows and whatnot. My guy next to me is all right. We leave it 10 minutes, and lo and behold, it turns back on. We actually could drive it back. But it was just a mad little experience being out there. But probably one of the best, to that date, one of the best achievements I'd had in my life. They gave me this like wooden plaque, which was like a gift from them, but it resembled everything I'd done and achieved there, which was nice. And I actually got like a CGS accommodation from the UK Army for doing the work there, which was kind of cool. And that taught me about like travel and wanting to do this sort of stuff like long term, permanently. Because at this point, I'm still a British paratrooper, but then the UK Army has what's known as an Army Physical Training Corps. It's called the Royal Army Physical Training Corps. And notice how the badge I wear on my head is now slightly different. And essentially, your role here is to deal with everything to do with fitness within inside the military. That's your main role here. Where I did this, and I also qualified our soldiers to become PTIs. That was the main job I had here. So I knew everything inside out about military PT. And then off the back of that, I knew there was something missing. I knew I wanted to know more about body recon. This is everything I know and love and speak about on the channel, because I feel like I wanted my physique to be better. I was fit, I was fast, I was strong. Like in 2017, I was back squatting. I'm like 69 kilo. You can't really tell the difference. I'm like 69 kilo, and we're knocking out like 170 back squat for 1 rep max, which is pretty cool at that weight. But I wasn't big. I was really like pretty fucking skinny, to tell you the truth, and I wanted to be more jacked. And also at that point, that this is in 2020, and we know what went on in 2020. So fast forward 2 years after working this job, I was kind of just like sick of being trapped in my country. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel, and I felt like I'd hit my tier in terms of how far I'd grow within the military. Could there have been other things that helped me grow a little bit more? Yeah, probably. But at this point, it was 2020 or 2022. I've been in there now. I did 10 and a half complete years, and I was like, you know what? I feel like this chapter of my life is actually done. And it was a very safe, secure job. I was well ahead in my career. Like, it took me like 7 years to become a sergeant, which is pretty rapid. So I was well ahead in my career. It was a safe job. I have no outgoings, no family, no one depends on me. Everything I make, I can save loads of money. And it was like a nice brotherlyhood experience. But there was just something inside of me where I was like, I feel like I'm destined for more. I feel like this is great, but I feel like this is good. And I want to go and find the great. And then the first opportunity came up where I saw this online. It was to go and work for a gym in Dubai known as Ultimate Performance. Now, I didn't realize this when I was looking at them, but they are actually like renowned for being like one of the world's leading personal training companies. They've got gyms all around the world that are standardized to get in good caliber of transformations for the general population, actually. So I was like, you know what? And within a heartbeat, I just dropped the army and went straight into this. And I did this, and I thought initially, would it be a smart move or a bad move? And initially, like, it was in a weird way, a kind of a step down to like in terms of how much money I had, because I was in Dubai, but making maybe the same. But then obviously, because I'm in Dubai, I'm earning a lot less money, or can keep a lot less money than I am in the army. My accommodation's more versus literally nothing in the army. And everything's more expensive here, so like it is what it is. So it was a humbling experience, but I remembered why I was there. I was there to learn. I was there to get good at what I wanted to do. And really starting at this, they treat their process like kind of being in the army. You start, they run it like a corporate structure where it's like you're a junior, then an associate, then a PT level, blah, 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 the PT level to like management role. And in that first year, you're on like probation, so it's kind of sink or swim. They'll teach you everything. You get monitored on the work you're doing with your clients, and you obviously get given clients to work with. So it's kind of good. It's kind of like a really good setup. But you've got to get the results. You've got to be able to deliver on those. You need like 3 results plus some other like retention points to get promoted. That was at the time when I was there. Anyway, it's probably changed now. And we did, and we achieved that. But it was through like struggle and just being absolutely humbled, because I'm used to training young lads like this. Then I moved to Dubai, where the general population is that come into the gym. A lot of them were like Indian based, so completely different body types to us. A lot of them were either like more elderly CEO styles rather than young lads, or like women as well, which I had never really worked with being a British paratrooper. So it forced me to like broaden my game and really just understand like different people and the way people work. And actually, in a weird way, it taught me more about communication than the army did in many ways, even though in the army I was speaking in front of like hundreds of people at a time, and confidence was at an all-time high. But this is where I really did learn the craft of getting people in great shape. And it was a good solid year, and we passed the year, we got promoted, achieved what we needed to achieve, and at that time another opportunity come up, and this one was actually so this is just fast forwarding. I understood what it took to really get in shape. This is probably like the leanest condition I'd been in to date. Like was looking cool, but then at that time, an opportunity come up in the Middle East to go do a contract where I'd essentially train an army in the Middle East in PT. So I thought, well, I've done this in Africa for their army. I've done this, countless times in my own army. I was like, this is what I really enjoy doing. I was like, it'd be quite a cool experience, and it was obviously paid well because these types of things generally pay pretty good. So I went across to there and did that. And then when I was there, I was like, right, I've got this new skill that I've been away and I've looked at and I've developed. And I was just living with a guy at the time because they put you in like 2-man rooms. He was honestly like, being back in the army is actually pretty nice. And he was like, all right, but could have been in much better shape. In fact, it's actually this guy that stood here in front of you. And we started to like just get him in shape because I'd wanted to keep practicing the skills I'd learned. But now I'm seeing a body which is a lot more workable than some of them I'd seen in the past. Anyway, we started to make progress. He started to drop body fat. He was training well. He's training with me as well, so he was developing nicely. And then we were on a contract of like, maybe 90 military personnel. So word started to spread around. Oh, can you do this for me? And at the minute, I was just doing it for free. I was like, yeah, sure. So I realised actually the people I really care about and helping with was like my people, the people I know to this day, ex and serving military. They were all technically ex-military really, because a lot of them were out doing contract work, but they'd all been in. And I just started coaching people for free, and that was it. And my main aim was not even like to get loads of clients. It was I just wanted some like good before and after results to showcase I knew what I was talking about and I had credibility. That's one thing I always like to do. I don't like blagging stuff. I don't like my value is like no. What I like to say when people say what are your best traits, I say I'm a genuine person. What you see is what you get. Like I can't lie. I can't hold grudges. There's just something inside me. It just doesn't like. I just can't have the bandwidth. So I'm just genuine. Like I'm honest. I say things as they are. You'll know how I feel because I wear my heart on my sleeve. I can't really hide up like shit like that. So I realised anyway that this is the people I wanted to help. But that contract was only like 4 months long and was coming to an end. So I took an opportunity with that where I was like, well, it's only 4 months. So I'm going to leave this job behind to go do this one, which is 4 months. And then what off the back of it? And at the time, I really didn't know. And I didn't know that I was going to start doing this. But I left there and I had like 10 or 15 people I was doing for free. And I was like, right, the only mission is to get results. And previously, I'd done a lot of travel while I was in the army and I'd been on holiday. And I went to Mexico earlier in that year of 2022, actually, for about 2 weeks, and it was one of the best places I've ever been. And anyone that's watched this channel or seen my Instagram will know I go there every year. It's like one of my favourite spots to go to. It just like really broadened my horizon for growth. The weather's nice, the people are friendly. You've got beach clubs, you've got beaches, the gym's good. You've got cenotes, which are like these big craters of water in the ground, which are like they're naturally there. They naturally clean themselves. It's like literal paradise, and like obviously around. This would be like the Cancun beach area strip. I don't go to Cancun. I go to another place that's near there called Playa del Carmen. That's like the holy grail place on earth for me. That is. I was asked tempted, do I drop that name on YouTube? But at the end of the day, if I found like loving it and you like me, you might go there and you might find the same. It's in between. So you got Cancun, Tulum further down, a place in the middle. But you can base there. It's very, very well. It's cheapish to rent places there. And it's just generally a nice spot. I know for us Brits, we can go in there and you can spend about 6 months there before you need to leave, which is pretty kind of them, to be fair. Most countries across the world, you're looking at 3 months max, but they give you that option. It's a really, really great space. And I thought to myself, right, I'm going to go all in on this. Where would give me the best opportunity and the best chance of this working? And for me, I always knew I wanted to live abroad. I didn't want to live at home. I'd done it for 10, 50, all my life, let's say. And I was like, where has the most opportunity and growth? And it's at this place here where I really just reinvented my whole character. This is where the 2.0 version of me really started to come out. So I'd been through this was biggest transition of my life to begin with. Up to this point, this was another big move here, and then this was the next biggest move, doing this. Because now I'm thinking, right, I've no one, I'm all by myself. The only mission I know is to get the results like this, and then we need to grow this to where I can like just make enough to live, like basic amount, and that's it. And I always knew this was going to be a place of growth, so I recreated my character. I'd always had like good military habits, so all of that wasn't really an issue in terms of work ethic, getting up early, hydrating, training, all that sort of stuff was not really an issue. But I just now saw myself as like, I'm going to lead these men to get in great shape. These are the people I care about. These are who I want to help. Like, and we're going to get sick results. And it literally just worked. Went it all in for those people, and until the results literally just came, and they did. And we were knocking them out. The first year we got like 44 results. This is 2024. Obviously now we're in 2025, and it just kept working until the results started to come. Going through since like leaving the army, which is now literally coming on like 3 years. Those 3 years have been like they felt like about 10 years. I've lived that many different lives in that many different places and been all around. And the only thing I can tell you is I don't go to different places to like flex that I'm going to different places. I go to different places to try and grow. I go to different places to put myself out my comfort zone. So it was like, oh, let's try Dubai. You don't know if you'll like it, but you'll grow. Oh, let's try Saudi. It's fucking meant to be mental there. And you'll grow. And I did, and I grew. Honestly, and Saudi Arabia, again, like Mexico, is another one that will always be within my heart because it's an absolute great place. I've been there. It's probably spent about 8 months of my life there, and it's a great spot. For the right reasons of work, gym, which align. That's who I am. That's my focus. I like work. I like being productive. Saudi Arabia really aligns it to that. That was the country I was in the Middle East. But going to these other spots, I like going to them to grow and to see what's there. I've always been like an inquisitive person. I'm not the type of guy that finds value in material goods. Like you see me every day, I wear my own Gorilla Platoon t-shirt. I don't really wear designer kit. I don't drive fancy cars. They don't really interest me. And do you know what's nice? Like I found that out quite young. I just had the same car for 10 years. And even when I tried to like drive like a nice one, when I've gone to America, I'm like, cool, this is nice. Give it back. Fucking don't remember it ever again. And I know this, like that they're not my ethos and values. I don't care about looking flash. I've never owned a Rolex. I probably never will. I don't really care for jewelry. But experiences or like being able to give my mum and dad money, that's like nice for me. I like to be able to just go and see what's around the world. Like I'd much rather, we did a meet up earlier this year. We went to Guatemala with a Gorilla Platoon. And doing something like that, an experience with my people, going up a mountain, that's what this is really all about. That's what I like. Driving around in flash cars, I couldn't care less what the car is, to be honest. I really do. It just doesn't tick me the right way. But yeah, I went all in until the results came, and then since then, let's say now at this point we're in Mexico. Spent most of that year there, or like 6 months or so. Went back to Saudi again, did the exact same contract again because it was on. And this time I had close friends come and do it with me that were also qualified. And then since then we've really progressed to what's not in any of these photos, which are highlights. I would say are doing like the 2 photo shoots the Gorilla Platoon's done, which you can see on the Instagram page. Doing those because they really stretch me to see like. I've never been one to celebrate my birthday. I don't care for it that much. But like doing these events is almost like organising your own birthday party, and you're seeing like who's actually going to turn up and come, who actually wants to come to your birthday party. And I've never really put myself in a position where I like put that on the line for my own like, ego or whatnot. And you can get shot down pretty hard with stuff like that. And maybe that's why I've never really bothered to do birthdays. Even though I've always had a good friendship circle. But this was like the first opportunity. I'm going to create events and let's see if people actually come to the events I create and I like, and see if people actually like me. And we had a good amount of the Miami one. We had a good one at the UK shoot. We've since then done obviously the hike to Guatemala. We've since then done another UK one. We did a mountain in the UK, and we're going to do one soon in the UAE in around November time. We'll go do a mountain here. The main thing I like to do with the Gorilla Platoon is we get you before and after results, get you in sick shape, make you become that new individual, and then we meet up and go and do something else that's a bit more harder that we can bond with together. So it's either photo shoots or tackling mountains, because I like mountains. Obviously I'm a military background, but it's a good manly thing to go and do, is just get out and about in the mountains. So really that's where I've got to today, where we now have the Gorilla Platoon that produces like 2 results a week. and we get to go do mountains around the world, which is kind of where I'm at right now. But we do them off our own back rather than being told to get up that hill in the military. So that's really in 20 minutes my story, where I've come from 2013 round to whereas I filmed this today in 2025. You just have a bit more insight about me, my ethos, my values, what I find important, which really is just getting results and helping men get in fucking sick shape and then coming and joining our group and going around the world and doing cool shit together. So yeah, if you want to come join that, there'll be links in the description, of course. But thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you tomorrow.